We're here at South Station in Boston, Massachusetts with the guy who almost redid this himself, rebuilt it himself. I'm not rebuilding America. Our good friend, Governor Michael Dukakis. Governor, thank you for joining us.
Good to be with you. Of course, there were a lot of other good people working for me who had a lot to do with this as well.
Sure, there's no doubt. You had
a certain amount of the credit.
Well, it is great. As we look around today, at this, magnificent building. One of the things that still is problematic, and we have a senator and Scott Brown and a former governor and presidential candidate Mitt Romney who are completely against the North-South Station rail link, which would basically keep this place in a zone of thousands and millions of people going to New York, going up to Maine, but we can't do it because it ends. Your thoughts about how to fix it?
It's a mile. Kitty and I were just down in Philadelphia over the weekend going to the graduation at Swarthmore College, which was my alma mater because a young woman who we're very close to was graduating. Took the train down, transferred within the 30th Street station to excellent commuter rail, and we're in Swarthmore in 20 minutes. Now, when I was an undergraduate at Swarthmore in the 50s, if you couldn't do that, Suburban Station was over here, and 30th Street Station was over here. What did they do? They built the Philadelphia equivalent of the North-South rail link. And today we just got off the Amtrak train, went upstairs the escalator, walked about 4 minutes. We only had 5 minutes to do it, walked onto the train. We're in Swarthmore in 20 minutes. We need the same thing. I mean, it's just a mile. And it's the kind of project that we should be investing in, federal government should be investing in. And here we've got a guy who was a governor of Massachusetts who wants to eliminate all federal support for Amtrak, all of it. Forget about the North-South rail link. And we've got a senator who has been doing his best to kill all money for high-speed rail. Can you believe this? While Europe and Asia are investing billions in terrific high-speed rail systems, Scott Brown's trying to eliminate every single penny of the money that President Obama requested for high-speed rail. It makes absolutely no sense to me, none.
Walk with me, Governor. We're going to walk, Doug. One of the interesting things as we go here, we're going to walk to the board, is that you have a scenario where the board all goes south. You can't go north. And this to me is the problem. We're a major international city. And you look at this, you go to Washington, you go to New York, you go to Framingham, you go to Chicago West, you can't go north.
And we tend to forget that there is a great city to our north called Montreal. Great to visit, great people, lots of folks from Montreal who came down here, lots of families that migrated from there down here. But Quebec itself as a province is a fascinating place. And the current premier of Quebec, Jean Charest, has as his #1 priority connecting Montreal with Boston and with New York. But how do you connect Montreal, Boston, and New York when you got this mile gap between North and South Station? And we could have, that link, we don't talk about much, but that link between Boston and Montreal could be a huge plus for the New England economy as well as the Canadian economy. Not only that, but it's a great place to spend some time.
Well, you look at that again, and as we walk over here, you have in Washington, D.C., you have 4 trains that are going there, right?
Right.
Now, if you have Scott Brown and Mitt Romney, they'll eliminate it altogether.
They're gone.
It'll starve. So all of a sudden, all those people that are going to Washington today or New York, gone.
No, they're not gone. They'll be back in a car, tied up in 2- and 3-hour traffic jams from here to New York and Washington, or having to take a plane. And by the way, when we were coming back, I just for the heck of it called US Air to see what they might charge Kitty and me if we flew. Over $1,000 for the two of us from Philadelphia to Boston. What do these guys think is going to happen here? Don't they understand that this country needs a first-rate national rail passenger system and that the future of the Northeast economy is absolutely tied up in an excellent regional transportation system which extends from Montreal all the way down to Washington, D.C. and Virginia?
I tell you, again, when we walk this way, Governor, you take a look at all the communities that are being served there. that are local. And this is how you tie it in. You've talked for so long about redeveloping. Now, New Bedford isn't there, where I grew up.
No, Fall River is not there. Taunton is not there. All three would be served by the extension of commuter rail down there. Cape Cod is not there. You know, we spent $62 million under Romney to build that flyover at the Sagamore Bridge, which of course hasn't solved any problems at all. That $62 million, Jeff, was more than enough to extend commuter rail from Middleborough at least to Bourne and on to Hyannis. You ask yourself, which one of those projects, the flyover or rail to the Cape, would do more to reduce the kind of congestion we have on the roads going down there? I mean, it's a no-brainer. So what do? Under Romney, we built the flyover. That money would have been more than enough to extend commuter rail down to the Cape.
Just think about this idea. We not only provide more jobs for construction workers by doing the North-South Station Rail Link, New Bedford Rail. You also look at reducing the carbon footprint. 70,000 cars are taken off the road. That's better for the planet. That's better for the people who are breathing the air on the highways that live nearby it. I mean, it's a win-win in so many different ways.
And a huge plus for the economy of southeastern Massachusetts, which, as you know better than anybody, because that's where you came from, has been a chronically, if not depressed, recessed part of the economy. You get commuter rail down there, the economy of southeastern Massachusetts will just explode. And everybody knows that, so why aren't we doing it? Well, because we're spending money on a bloated defense budget. Listen to this. Obama has asked for approximately $10 billion a year for high-speed rail. Just to put that in perspective, that's 1 month in Iraq. 1 month. Think about it. That's what we're talking about, to invest in high-speed rail in the United States and to do the kinds of projects that you and I are talking about up here. I don't understand why, and there's nothing partisan about this, why this just doesn't make great sense for the United States of America, and certainly makes great sense for New England.
We're talking with Governor Michael Dukakis here at South Station, and one of the great things that you see here is the idea of how transportation works together. If you look around, you see JetBlue advertising here. Well, in a lot of European countries, the airport, the train station, they all connect. We have in our country, up in Dulles, the only international airport in the whole country doesn't have a rail connector. These are things that just, when these are jobs.
When Kitty and I were in Europe in April, we flew into Frankfurt. We wanted to take a train to the little town of Heppenheim, where the school was located, where her mother was sent from New York City in the late 20s. Jeff, we got our bags, we got on an escalator, went up to another level, walked about 4 minutes, and there was the train to Heppenheim. I mean, completely integrated. Now, fortunately, in this station, we have that.
Yes, you're right.
We have a bus connection to the airport, we have transit, we have commuter rail, we have the high-speed rail system. I mean, you have this so-called multimodal connection, but we're unusual in that respect. And these are the kinds of things that we should have been doing years ago. I mean, I'll tell you, it's embarrassing to come back from Europe.
Isn't it? Isn't it the most frustrating thing to see the Germans, the French? I always talk about this on the show. You can go from Bordeaux to Paris in 3.5 hours. Same thing as
Barcelona to Madrid,
DC to
2
Boston.
hours and 15 minutes. And of course Japan's been doing this since the 1960s. And here we are with people running for office who not only don't want to do it, they want to kill what we got. Yeah. So I don't want to see Mitt Romney in the White House. I think it'd be a disaster. We know what he did here in Massachusetts, one of the worst economic records.
47th out of 50th.
47th out of 50th. And it's obvious that Brown doesn't understand this at all. Otherwise, he would be trying to kill the existing high-speed rail money, which the president and the Congress work so hard to appropriate. So
if you don't get the basic stuff like infrastructure, never mind, the idea of investing in green energy and solar and wind, never mind about the idea of education. You cut back, and you end up with a third world nation.
But it starts with infrastructure. That's a job that government must do. I mean, I don't care whether you're a liberal, conservative, Republican, Democrat. I mean, the private sector is not going to build public infrastructure. I think we know that. And that ought to be one of our top priorities, and this is the time to do it. Got thousands of construction workers out of work. We got contractors hungry, bidding low. We've got The cost of money is virtually zero. Why aren't we doing this? And why aren't we investing in this so that we get ready for the next chapter in economic expansion? I don't understand it, and I don't understand where these guys are coming from.
One last thing, Elizabeth Warren is a breath of fresh air. Everybody I talk to from around the country is, how's she doing? What's going on? Your thoughts about her and how important it is that she's the next senator from Massachusetts?
Well, first, this flap over her ethnic background is the biggest fraud I've ever seen. And it's another example of gotcha politics. Sorry, but I guess, and it was my fault, I was one of the early victims of this. All the press had to do last week was to go over to Cambridge, to the graduation at Harvard Law School, and ask the first 10 graduates what they thought of Elizabeth Warren. And you know what they'd tell you, Jeff? That she was the best and the toughest professor they ever had. The notion that she was hired by the University of Pennsylvania Law School or Harvard Law School because of her Native American background is preposterous.
Completely insane.
Well, Brown's out in Springfield yesterday, says it's a character issue. We got some character issues in this campaign. You know, a guy running for the Senate who's taken hundreds of thousands of dollars out of Wall Street, who's for tax breaks for the oil companies, who doesn't believe that working people and their families in the United States of America are entitled to decent, affordable health care, but is not averse to taking advantage of our plan to take care of members of his families.
Exactly.
I mean, those are the kinds of character issues I'm concerned about.
Well,
and they go directly to the character of people that embrace the kind of philosophy he does.
This guy who wears a barn jacket and drives a pickup truck and basically, you know, wants to put that as who he is. In the meantime, he takes more money than any other United States senator from Wall Street.
There are character issues in this campaign, and they don't relate to Elizabeth Warren. I don't know of anybody I've met in public life who has the character and the integrity and the sheer courage that that woman has. I mean, to take on the entire financial establishment and to beat them in Washington tells you something. And she's a superb teacher. I mean, she's one of the best. So we've got a real gem there. But this is not going to be easy. And you know, I mean, the Republican money machine is going to be pouring millions into these senatorial campaigns. This is a battleground campaign. It's tight. It's tough. And we've got a lot of work to do.
Governor Dukakis, thank you so much. Great to be here with you in this place.
Thank you.
Thank you.